Hello everybody, thank you for joining us for the launch event for the Wormhole Hackathon powered by Encode Club. It's really exciting to see so many of you here. I will let you know what we're going to do today. To start off, we're going to kick off the Wormhole Hackathon. We're going to go through everything you need to know for the hackathon in order to succeed. And then in about 20 minutes from now, we're going to have our Getting Started workshop. So to start off with, I am Rebecca. I'm the program manager from Encode Club on this hackathon. So what that means is if you have any questions, if you need any help, please contact me. I'm here to try and make your hackathon journey as smooth and successful as possible. So I've put a couple of ways you can contact me. My email, I've already sent you a few emails, so you should be able to find that really easily. My Discord and my Telegram are both just my full name. In Discord, I'm quite active anyway, so you'll probably be able to find me in the club room. So just feel free to DM me with any problems you have. I really want to be able to help you make this hackathon successful. So for those of you who haven't joined us before, Encode Club is a community of developers, professionals, and students all in emerging tech. So what that means is we have a community of people who come and attend our events. So these events include Educate series. Some of you might have attended our Wormhole Educate, which was hosted just last month. There were 8 workshops, all on different products and topics in the Wormhole ecosystem. These videos are all linked in the Hacker Pack. They're definitely worth checking out if any of this technology is useful for your projects, for what you're planning on building in the hackathon. So all of these workshops were all recorded and in the Hacker Pack, so check them out. So that's the Educate series, but we also do hackathons, of course. This is an online hackathon, which means it's run globally. We also do in-person events, so keep an eye out on our social media if you want to come to an in-person hackathon. We do accelerators, which run on from hackathons in supporting projects that have done well in the hackathons into growing into startups. So there is an incubator coming up after this hackathon, so definitely worth considering if your project does well. We also run boot camps. We've just had a load of boot camps kicking off today. Boot camps are intensive programs on different areas of technology, especially in Web3. We have the Solana Rust boot camp kicking off today, a ZK scaling boot camp, a GPT and AI boot camp. So we have loads of different boot camps. If you're interested in learning, definitely check out our website to find out more about that and apply for one of those. And Encode Club also does a bit of recruitment. So coming up is actually the Web3 job fair. So if you are interested in looking for a job in Web3, then definitely check out our website. I will post the link to that if you want to come along. So what we're here to do today is we are here to kick off the Wormhole Hackathon. So this is a 4-week event, all online, and we're ending on the 1st of September. So today is the first day of the hackathon. So to start off with, I'm going to invite Evgeni to the stage to say hello to you all. Evgeni has seen, oh no, that's not what I wanted to do. Evgeni has seen so many cohorts of hackers coming through Encode programs.
Okay, so everyone, I just wanted to say a quick hi to everyone. So first, welcome to the Wormhole Hackathon. Perhaps some of you were educated, but some of you, it'll be your first time getting into the Encode community, and perhaps it could be your journey starting for the next months and years, keep building and getting supported through all different kinds of programs. First, today, what I want to share is, of course, perhaps you saw all the Twitter, all the writings, market is dunking, but a lot of developers, again, why we are here, because we are here to build something. So I know that all the successful projects were going through ups and downs, and here you are to learn and build, and that's something very impressive in this time, especially. and like a learning forward and building something. And this time we have a very like a special like bounties, which soon our Wormhole team going to be introduced as well. But not only all the people who are learning Wormhole, cross-chain, multi-chain app and first time, but also who have existing platform, existing projects you want to build further, making like a multi-chain app. This is a great opportunity, very, very rare opportunity. Not only get technical support, but further you can build your project into business and continue this one. Another thing is you will see that during our educate series, not only developers, a lot of different kinds of people with a different technical background or even non-technical background coming into the Wormhole ecosystem. So if you're considering expanding your team in next cycles, this is going to be a perfect opportunity to meet people during the hackathon. So please like recruiting your team members and try to test things out. If you're slightly like new to Wormhole ecosystem, please don't feel intimidated and like try to reach out to all those who has been around and learn and keep building. And most importantly, of course, this will not be easy journey. As you can imagine, a lot of startups, not only in crypto, even traditional industry, it takes like months and years till you find the right market fit. But the thing is, like here, we have a lot of different supports coming from Wormhole team directly. So you are in perfect place to build and get support from the engineers directly. So please like continue your journey and let us know what we can do for you. And again, most important thing, please have fun. And we are looking forward to see your result.
Nice. Thank you very much, Omji. The sponsors for the Wormhole Hackathon are, of course, Wormhole. So let me invite Pauline to the stage. If I can find her. There she is.
Here I am.
Hello, there you are. Amazing.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for everyone for coming. Yeah, well, Omji has said it very well. Like she's seen a lot of hackathon. She has a good pep talk at the beginning, definitely. What else could I add to what she said? I think it's one of the things that's really important. And I was a hackers before, so I'm a DevRel at Wormhole now. And I'm a pure product of Web3 Hackathon, actually. So I was a dev, and I just dug into the hole, and I know how you feel, right? Yeah, it's going to be up and down. You're going to need help, and but you're in safe hand for sure. So yeah, we can talk about it later about bounties and so on, but please make sure that you're learning a lot and you're having fun. And this is just beginning, right? Like you can build forever after that. So yeah, very excited to see what you guys are going to do.
Awesome. Wise words. That's true. Have fun. You can keep building after. Okay, awesome. So now I'm sure the thing that everyone wants to know about, the bounties. We will go through those. So I'm going to quickly give you an overview of the bounties, and then Pauline can give us a little bit more information. So this hackathon has a main track with 2 different bounties. They're very open-ended. The first one is Best New Project. So what this means is you build a new project that you haven't worked on before, utilizing Wormhole technology and which is used to make it multi-chain. So what qualifies as a new project is one that you haven't been building. Well, you could have built from maybe very recently, but it isn't something you've submitted to other hackathons. Please get in touch with us if you're not sure whether your project counts as a new project, and we'll sort that out for you. We'll let you know. But the Best New Project bounty is for multi-chain first applications. So it has 3 winners, first, second, and third, with a top prize of $10,000, which is very exciting, of course. And then the second part of the main track of the bounties is the best integration on an existing project. So this covers any existing project that you've built in a previous hackathon or in your own free time that you now want to utilize Wormhole technology in. You build on top of it using Wormhole technology, and this counts towards the best integration on an existing project. This can include a project that is already multi-chain and uses Wormhole technology that you want to improve on, that you want to take further. This still counts as an integration on an existing project. But again, please contact us beforehand so that we can make sure you're going for the right bounty and that everything is going to plan. So the other part of the bounties in this hackathon are the add-on bounties. The purpose of these is to provide the Wormhole team with feedback on their documentation and their products. So what the Wormhole team wants is, as you're building for the main track of this hackathon, they want your feedback and your honest opinions on what your experience of using the documentation and using the products are. If you found anything unclear, if you think things can be improved, if you think things are really, really well done and really useful, then they want your feedback. So the prize pool for this bounty is $2,500 for the documentation feedback, and the same for the product feedback. And this is split between the prize pool. So the purpose of this is for you to be doing this alongside building for the main track. But if you're not submitting for the main track, you are still able to provide feedback. But the best way to do this is if you're building using the technology, so that you can give your honest experience of using it. So if you have previous experience of using the Wormhole docs and using the products, and you want to submit that feedback, then that is more than welcome. You don't have to submit a project in the main track alongside it, but it is recommended for the best feedback. The most useful feedback will be first-hand experience during the hackathon. Do you want to add anything to that?
Sure. Like, I think it's a bit of it's a less usual bounty track, maybe. So basically, it's very important in this ecosystem, we build product for developer, right? Like, so the way we see it is that we want to offer the best DevX, like the best developer experience possible. Will make your product adoption in the developer community much faster. And the best way to do that, and the best way to find out how to improve your doc or how to improve your product, is to ask the people that are using it, basically. And so you guys are the people that are first using the technology. And for us, it's a very, and I really insist, I wanted to emphasize on that, it is so important that we get your opinion on it, and as specific as you can. Like, if you struggle with one part of the documentation, if there are some explanations that don't make sense, if there is a lot of friction in certain part of the product, like, please do not hesitate to reach out. There is a form. We thought maybe that was the best way to give feedback, but any feedback is good feedback for us. It just needs to be a bit specific. And yeah, if you actually want to contribute even more, like if you want to write, if you think you can improve it, like we can definitely discuss about it offline, like on Discord and so on. But that is basically a very, very important track. You make my work actually a lot easier. So basically, if I have a lot of feedback, it's much easier for me to build a product that is adapted to the developer, and it's very useful. And before we stop that, I just wanted to say that something I wanted to say before I forgot, but the way you're going to implement the technology is one thing, and it's very important for product that, of course, everything is implemented right, and the execution of an app is something. But please build something that you find interesting, like build something that your friend wants to use, like be creative. If the execution is not perfect, you fix that later. Like, it's not really the most crucial thing, is that if that implementation is 100% perfect, but please build something that you have fun with and that you think this ecosystem needs, because that's really what we're looking for, basically. Yeah.
Nice, thank you. We have a couple of questions in the questions tab. A few of them will save for the getting started workshop. But something like that I'd like to ask you, Pauline, is, are you happy with people integrating Wormhole into an existing product like Uniswap, or does it need to be a product of their own?
So you can do, as I just said, we don't want you to be limited with anything in your idea. If you have in mind an idea that is using Uniswap and doing like it's up to you to make it happen. Like kind of we're never going to say, oh, this is too crazy, you know, like it's possible. But for the bounty, there are very clear criteria, right? So if you have an existing app or if you start from scratch, those are two tracks. Then whatever third-party tool you want to use, you want to integrate. And if it makes sense, I mean, if in the overall it works, then why not? You know, like it doesn't matter. So yeah, just go full on creative about it, and we'll definitely have a look at it.
Are you looking for a developer-focused app or a consumer-focused, or are you not fussy?
Actually would take anything, because as I said, I mean, I've been judging a lot of hackathon, and it is true that at some point we do have quite a lot of infra for developers. They are being built because it makes sense for them to build an infrastructure that help them do their job and make their job easier. But you have to remember that this ecosystem at some point needs user, right? Like we cannot keep building infrastructure. We need to have user-centric or user-focused app at some point, and so I think both are needed, right? But I think at this point we do have quite like some good infrastructure. At least we have progressed very quickly with this, and the user-focused app are a bit, yeah, when you get out of the DeFi space, it gets much less and less, and that's what I mean. Like, please don't restrict yourself on any sorts of field, because we want to see all the different fields to adopt these technologies.
So the next thing to talk about is what to do if you need help. If you have technical questions, if you need technical support, then please join the Encode Club Discord channel, and specifically the Wormhole Hackathon channel, and tag the Wormhole team in any of the Wormhole chats, and they will try and help you. Also, come along to the hackathon workshops. They'll be really useful. You can ask your questions. You'll get all the information that you need to succeed anyway. And also check out the Educate series workshops, which are all linked in the Hacker Pack. For everything else that's non-technical, also check out the Hacker Pack, because it will have all the information that you need. If anything is missing, or if you want to chat, then contact me and I'm happy to help. I want to make this experience as easy as possible. I really want you to succeed, so I will answer all of your questions, no matter how many you have. I see a lot of notifications, so I'll check the questions tab again. What if a project is not yet live? Does that qualify for this hackathon? Absolutely, yes it does. As long as it uses Wormhole technology, then it qualifies for this hackathon. Pauline, can you discuss a bit what the basis for judging the projects will be? So how are the projects going to be judged? What's your kind of criteria?
Yeah, that is actually very depending. I mean, we are a team of people, right? So it's going to be some people that are more product based, or they are more technically based. So it really depends which track you do. So we first see if all the criteria apply, and then basically we make, I mean, it's many different criteria, and that's kind of up to us to decide in the end what we will value the most. But in general, you look at if the product is, I mean, technically you look like if the product is functioning. Is there any front end? Is it, if there is no front end, what is the idea behind it? How much is a need for an app like this? Could be a lot of things. Like, is it something that is very innovative, or is it a fork for something from somewhere that's kind of like not adding much to the space, but it's really well executed? So well done. You know, like, it's very hard to say what it is right now that'll make you outstanding. But in general, a good README is nice, a clean code, you know, like a good explanation about what your product is and who you are trying to reach with a product like this. It's good, a good base. Yeah.
Nice, thank you. Yeah, we've had a couple of questions about that.
Hello.
Oh, hello, there she is.
Yeah, I saw that like just so many questions keep coming, tagging, which is a great sign, by the way. So I thought it'd be easier to quickly jump and answer something like logistic related, especially. So Leon was asking about how to integrate, how about integrating completely new chain to Wormhole. So this is like a precisely, it's not exactly fitting to the current like a track scope per se, because track was like actually for building something utilizing Wormhole. But what I usually suggest in this type of like a project is like, please reach out to us. There's a possible that just existing bounty available, or some of the hackathon track might be considers in similar direction. Just like we need to check out exactly what you want to do, and we will discuss with like Wormhole team, of course. And then so that you know that if you're like applying for this hackathon, or you may fighting for different bounty track outside of this hackathon. Another thing is, Pauline, someone is asking your socials, so maybe you can quickly share in the chat. So everyone, like Pauline share her Twitter, maybe you can give a follow, and also like asking questions. Another thing is like just because everyone was asking about like hackathon judging criteria, so Pauline already shared that like, you know, there are going to be a lot of different bits, but I wanted to just share rule of thumb. If you're a first-time hacker, like I wanted to give you a bit of like rule of thumb, what in the mental model, how you can think about. So one is like of course, this is one more hackathon. So they're like you need to integrate like one more tag. And there we're going to see in general, like how much you have utilized, right? So if you're building something new, one thing is like think about how to utilize this like being multi-chain native app. And if you have some like a technical complexity there, or like you have a simple integration, but having very novel idea, all those kind of things can count. But if you're building integration on top of existing projects, or like if you're having already one more integration but improving it, that's actually in the existing track as well, right? In that case, it is really case by case, like what kind of impact you are aiming, the integration detail. So please don't hesitate to contact the Wormhole team in advance and having discussion. This is extremely important. Either you win something in this hackathon or not, like this will not be actually last one. There are going to be a lot of different events coming this year, including like another hackathon and another accelerator coming by the end of year. So if you're thinking to keep pushing your projects, there are going to be a bunch of grant and bounty ready. So even though it doesn't meet this scope exactly, please don't hesitate to come and ask. That's the thing I wanted to add. Otherwise, like I will not take too much time, as in 2 minutes, Evgeni should come and giving a amazing workshop. But otherwise, general logistic related stuff, please join Encode server, and you can ask all these questions in the server. Most of questions we recommend to ask in the server so that others can also benefit from, you know, like you being proactive and asking questions. We can preempt their questions as well. On the other hand, if you want to have some more private question, as you wanted to discuss about your idea or office hour, please request them. Depending on the demand, we may create something. Currently, we don't have official office hour planned, but Wormhole DevRel team is very around. And if you have a lot of question, we can even discuss something ad hoc in week 2, an hour, like we can sit together and hackers can come by and asking questions. So please let us know. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. And then there's some questions I will be continuously answering in text as well. So feel free to ask more questions.
Nice, thank you, Omji. We will quickly rush through the end of the launch so that we can get on to our Getting Started workshop. So the last few things you need to know is some key dates. The integration workshop next week is the same time as this session now. That is going to be like an advanced wormhole integration bounty workshop. Come along even if you're going for the new project bounty, because you could learn something new there anyway. By the 16th of August, which is in about 2 weeks, we're going to be doing midway check-ins to make sure everything's going okay. Please do reach out before that and contact us if you need any help, but we'll be reaching out by that point anyway to make sure everything is going smoothly. The submission deadline is the 1st of September, so keep that in your diaries. This information is in the Hacker Pack. I'll be constantly posting it in the Discord, so you're not going to forget, but it's the 1st of September. So keep that in mind when you're building. And the finale and prize giving is going to take place on the 18th of September. So if you are a finalist, if your project makes it all the way to the final, then you're going to have to do a pitch at the finale, and then we will do the prize giving. So definitely keep that in mind as well, because you'll need that date clear in your diaries. So what you need to do now, while I invite Evgeni to the stage, is you need to make sure that you're registered. This gives you your hacker code, which you need to participate in any of the bounties, including the feedback bounties. So make sure you do that. Form your team if you haven't already. I saw a question about team formation. The way this works is in the Hacker Pack, there is a link where you put your profile, all of your skills, what you're looking for, if you're a single dev looking for a team, or if you've got a project idea and you need teammates, put all that information in, and you can contact other people who have also filled in the form. You can also use the Discord channel. There's a specific team formation Discord channel, so use that as well. So that's how you can form your teams. Attend the workshops. The first one is now, and then build, of course, so that you are ready to submit by Sunday the 1st of September, which is the date that you will not forget because it's the submission deadline. Awesome. Okay, so me and Pauline are going to mute ourselves and continue answering questions in the chat as Evgeni takes over and runs the Getting Started workshop.
All right. Hi, everyone. All right. So my goal for today is going to be to show you basically different wormhole toolings. So at the end of this workshop, I hope that you will get an overview over wormhole tooling products. We're going to go over different ones. We're going to start with basically, I have a small README just so we can go over all the steps. I hope you can also see the terminal. Rebecca, just, yeah, okay, cool. All right, so the workshop for today is basically going to be looking at a lot of code. We're going to have 7 steps. I want to do it all from scratch because the goal is to show you how you can deploy 2 tokens with cross-chain capabilities from scratch. So we're going to first deploy a token to Ethereum, then to Solana. We're going to use the entity CLI to deploy entity. Entity is our native token transfers framework, which basically is an open source framework for transferring tokens across blockchains without any liquidity pools. So projects still have full control over their tokens that use an entity on each chain. Entity comes, wait, let's first go back to the README. So I'm going to explain all the steps and then start with the entity explanation. So after deploying entity, we're going to set up Wormhole Connect, which is our React widget to have a small front end based on the deployment that we're going to do before. Then we're going to execute the entity transfer with our TypeScript SDK, with the Wormhole TypeScript SDK. And then we're going to look into how to get started with the TypeScript SDK from scratch and perform a CCTP transfer. So we're going to transfer some USDC between 2 wallets. And at the end, I want to talk about Wormhole Queries, which is our cross-chain state reads product, and show you how you can do either an EVM or an SVM query. So yeah, that's the plan for the next about an hour probably. Yeah, so let's get into it. First, I want to talk about the native token transfers framework a little bit more. So what this basically enables is, like I said, transferring tokens in a native way between different chains. And for that, we have 2 different deployment models. We have hub and spoke model, and we have burn and mint model. Let's see. Okay. So for the hub and spoke model is more for chains that already have an existing, or not chains, but projects that have an existing token. So you would have one chain as the hub chain with the canonical balance of all tokens, and then any number of spoke chains. So for example, you could choose a a hub chain where when you bridge tokens or transfer tokens to, let's say from Ethereum to Base or to Solana, then the tokens will be locked on chain A, on the hub chain, and minted on the Spoke chain, and then the other way back, they would get burned. So the Spoke chains would always have a burn and mint mechanism, but the hub chain is going to have a locking mechanism. So the canonical balance of all tokens would be possible to view on this hub chain. For the burn and mint model, it's usually for new tokens. So if you don't have an existing token that you want to start using Wormhole for, but if you want to deploy a new token, for example, then you could directly go with the burn and mint model, where you always would have burning on one chain, and then after transferring to a second or third chain, minting the tokens on the other chain. So far so good. Let's get into it. Because of the current market situation, I think we're not going to do an Ethereum deployment, but rather deploy to Base because of the gas spikes that are pretty high right now. So yeah, let's start with this. Let's start with deploying 2 tokens first to Ethereum. For that, I would go ahead and create a new folder. Let's create a new folder for that. Let's say EVM token. Let's actually look at our documentation for that. So there is a way how to deploy an EVM token. So we have an entity token example repository that you can find in our documentation, which has just an example of hub and hub is basically just for ERC20 tokens. So we're going to use this today to do an EVM deployment. For that as well, we need to check if you never used entity, you need to check if you have Foundry and Bun installed. I have already, but I'm still going to double check if everything looks correct. So we're going to double check the Forge version and the Bun version. That looks good. And then we can start and go ahead to go ahead inside our repository and actually open VS Code. Here we can see that we have a hub token example, which is very small, and then also a peer token example. So let's first go ahead and actually build the dependencies. Forge build. Is that too small? Let's do it a bit bigger. Is that better? Yeah, okay. All right. So after building the dependencies, what we want is to deploy. Today we're going to look into, let me make this bigger. We're going to look into the burn and mint model. So we're going to deploy 2. We're going to deploy, after deploying an EVM token and an SVM token, we're going to use the burn and mint model to deploy them on 2 different chains. So first we need the regular token deployment. For that, we're going to use Forge. Let me do this in the terminal. Maybe it's going to be a bit better. Yes, this looks better. Okay. So we're going to do is we're going to do a Forge create. What Forge create allows us to do is basically deploy a token based on the contract. So as we've seen before, we have the peer token contract, which can be used for either the to have a burn or a spoke token. So just the hub token has a different contract, but for burn or burn and mint and spoke, we can use the peer token contract, which just has a mint method, set minter, and then update. So it's very minimal. So we're going to deploy to Base, and we're going to give this an fun token name. It's going to be the fun token. So we're going to say it's going to be FTT. This is the minter. So this can be, let's go back to show you what this actually is. So it's the minter, and address and the owner address that goes into the contract in the constructor. So this can be all the same. This is just my test wallet address. So we're going to go ahead and deploy a token to base now. So this is going to be our burn token called fun token with 2 N's on the base chain. Okay, that worked. Let's double check that though. Sequoia base scan base Sequoia Explorer. That looks good. 26 seconds ago, we created a contract. So what we want to do next is now, after we have a contract, we want to actually mint tokens to this contract. For that, we're going to create a very quick script to do that. Let's say mint tokens script. Let me see. I'm just going to copy some code from that I created recently, so we don't have to write it from scratch. This is just a very small script to create, to take the peer token and basically just mint ourselves some tokens. So this needs my the token contract. This is the token contract, and it needs my test wallet address. This is the test wallet address. Let's see if this works. To mint the tokens, what we want to do is a for script mint. How did I name it? Mint tokens.s.sol. That looks good. Mint peer tokens should be the name of the contract. That looks also good. We have a base RPC URL that we're passing in and a private key. Let's see if that works. So what we do now is, after deploying a token, minting tokens to ourselves that we can later use to transfer. Okay, base Sequoia seems to be working all right. Let's see. Cool, that worked. So what we have now is should have like about 1,000. Yes, we have 1,000 fun tokens that we just created for ourselves on base. So what we want to do next, so this was just independent of Wormhole at all. It's just a regular deployment of an ERC20 contract and then minting tokens for ourselves. Let's go ahead and do the same for Solana. So let's go ahead and look at the docs again. So if you go to deploy to Solana, this is our public docs. So if you are curious to read about it yourself, you can always go to docs.wormhole.com and then check this out. All right, so what we want to do for Solana is to first check if we have Rust, Solana, and Anchor installed. Anchor is basically just some development framework on Solana, similar to Foundry or Hardhat on the EVM world. So we can close this repository since we already deployed the token, so we don't need this anymore. Let's go ahead and create a new Solana token, Solana my token directory. And now we can follow along. So I want to go through all the steps to deploy your new SPL token. So what we want to do first is to generate ourselves a key pair that we're going to use for our new wallet. We're just going to use a simple Solana keygen grind mechanism to just grind us any kind of key, starting with an W for wallet. If you want to use this key not just for testing, but for later to, let's say, import it into a Solana wallet like Phantom, Sulfur, or Backpack, you can also use this command, which is going to give you a mnemonic. So you can then take this and actually import it into your wallet of choice. But we're not going to do that today. So, right, what we want to do next is first to check if we have all the needed dependencies installed. So we're going to do a Rust C. We want to check if we have cargo, and we want to check if we have Anchor. That looks all good. We want to check the Solana version as well. That looks also good. So we can go ahead and perform the deployment. So after grinding ourselves a new key pair, we're going to set the key pair to be used with a CLI. So what we want to do is copy the absolute path so we can use it also if we are not in this directory anymore. So this should be this token. We should be having no balance, but we can airdrop us 5 SOL just by using the CLI. We are on DevNet already, otherwise you would set it up with this command here. Let's just try this out. Nothing changed, it's been on DevNet before. And now what we can go and do is to actually, since we already have the SPL token CLI, create ourselves a token. So you can either create yourself an SPL token or using the token 2022 program, which is an updated version to the token creation mechanism on Solana. But we're just going to use a simple, we're going to create a simple SPL token. After doing this, we need to create ourselves a new account because basically on Solana, each token account stores the balance of a specific token for a specific user. So that's why we need to create ourselves an account for the token itself. So we're going to do this, and we're going to take the address. Now we created an account, and now we're going to mint ourselves some tokens. We can all do that as well from the CLI. The token address, and now we have tokens. Cool. Let's check our balance. Should be a bit lower than 5. That's good and expected. And let's check out the token balance. This should return 1,000 for us. Let's see. That looks good. All right. So that was just all setup steps that I still wanted to include if you never did any deployment on either Ethereum or in that case Base or Solana. So after doing this, we can now go ahead and jump into the actual entity deployment. So deploying an entity manager that's going to take care, the entity manager contract that's going to take care of transferring tokens across different chain and like executing the different deployment models that we're going to configure going forward. All right. So we can still follow along with the docs for that. So what we're going to do next is to we're going to generate another entity program key pair. So we're going to actually, let's do that in the same directory as we did the Solana token. So this naming is arbitrary. It's just we're creating us a key pair with the public key that we want. And this key pair, the first one was for the wallet. The second one is going to be for the entity manager. So that's why I called it entity here as well. So we're just going to, now we have an entity key pair that we're going to use. What we need to do next for the entity deployment is to derive the token authority PDA. PDA stands for program derived address, which basically is an account whose owner is the program. Programs are smart contracts on Solana that can deterministically be generated from public key and a set of seeds. In this case, we need the token authority seed with the newly generated entity program ID, and generating this PDA can also be done just by using the entity CLI. Maybe I should mention it. I think I didn't mention at the beginning how to install the entity CLI. That's just one simple step from within the docs. So you can just use a curl command to install the entity CLI and then just check for the version. All right, so let's get back to this step where we're deriving the token authority PDA from the program that we just created for ourselves, or rather grinded. And as the next step, we want to set the SPL token mint authority to the newly generated PDA. For that, we're going to use the CLI command from the SPL token CLI. We need our token address which was this. We want to specify that we need the mint authority, and we will need the new derived program PDA. All right, we're almost there. And now we can actually go ahead and perform the first entity deployment for Solana, sorry. So what we're going to do is take this. So what we're going to tell the entity CLI is to add a new chain. Wait, I'm sorry. Let's first go ahead and not do that in the same Solana directory, but let's do that actually in a different directory. Because like I skipped in the beginning, in order to deploy entity, we need to set up some configurations. So we need to create a new entity project and then tell it that we want to use either testnet or mainnet. So we're going to do that now. Entity new. Let's call it encode fun entity. Let's go into that. And now we're going to initialize this. We want to do a testnet deployment. And now we should have exactly a bunch of configurations. The most important, or not the most important, but a very important file for us is going to be the deployment.json. Right now it should be empty, but by adding a new chain to it, we're going to be basically adding a new configuration to our entity manager. That's then the contracts can then going to know what to deploy to which chain, including, for example, rate limits, because by default we have rate limits that are in place for transfers, but I'm going to get to it after adding our new 2 tokens. So what we want to do here is basically execute this command. It's going to add our Solana token in burning mode. So this could be burning or for the burn and mint mechanism, or locking for the hub and spoke model, since we're going to then lock on the hub chain like I described in the beginning. So let's copy and paste this command. We need to specify our token, which is this one here. And okay, we need to specify the path to it, which is going to be Solana. Okay, something, 1 second. Where am I? Okay, I created the directory here. That's cool. So we're going to do, we want to add the chain. It should be Solana in latest mode, and the mode should be burning. And then we need to specify where to find the actual token key pair, which in my case is in this Solana my token directory. And then it should be I'm sorry, no, the token itself just needs to SPL token address. Yes. So we're just going to take the address. And now we need to specify a payer that's going to pay for the gas fees, and the program key that's going to be used for the manager. So now we need the actual key pair. For that, we're going to say payer my token, and this should be our wallet that we just created, and the program key is also the one that we just created, which is in the same directory. So going up again, and then NTT. So this should add all the configuration needed for the NTT contract to know which token we want to deploy in burning mode to our NTT deployment. While this compiles, let's look. I'm going to check out the chat if you have any questions so far. The beginning was a bit faster on purpose, just because the deployment of Solana or EVM tokens is not directly needed for a Wormhole deployment. I mean, if you have a token already deployed before, you could have used them. You don't need to deploy from scratch to use Wormhole tools. Okay.
I think there aren't any questions about what you're doing at the moment.
Okay.
So I think you're all
Awesome.
good.
Thank you, Rebecca. Then after this compiles, what the next step is going to be is the deployment to EVM. So we did deploy a token to base. So what we're going to do next is, again, use the entity add chain command. But this time we're going to not tell it that it's Solana, but base Sequoia, actually. And again, we're going to do burning mode since we want to have the burn limit model. Let me just see if I somewhere saved the token that I just deployed on base. Let's check out this hash, which should have the token itself. Okay, this should be it. Oh, okay, we need more fees, more funds on Solana. That should be not an issue. There is a faucet on Solana that we can use. Let's get 2.5. That should be enough. We are a human. All right. Now we should have more. Oh, right. Of course, I sent it to the wrong address. No worries. We can check out what our address is. It's this one. So again, we need more DevNet Sol. Okay, otherwise I'm going to send myself some DevNet Sol. Okay, no problem. Just going to use Solve there. To send 3 Sol. And Solve there is fast, so we're good. Now we can go ahead and perform the chain command one more time. Sorry for that. So while this is compiling, I can maybe describe already what we're going to do after adding the second chain. So once we have both configurations in our deployment.json, we can just ask the entity CLI about this current status. What this would do is then check with the current on-chain state on both chains that we specified and see if there's any differences between our local configuration and the configuration on-chain. So this is what we're going to do next. So once we added base Sequoia to our config, we're going to ask for status, and then we could either do entity pool to override our local configuration with the on-chain configuration in case if there exists an entity manager, or what we're going to do since we did it all from scratch, we're going to do an entity push and actually sync the on-chain configuration with the local changes. So in our case, we're going to cross-register the contracts with each other and set the rate limits that we're going to specify as well during the deployment. So that worked now. If we take a look at our deployment.json, we now have actually a Solana testnet in burning mode with the needed addresses for the manager, and right now set rate limits. We're going to modify this after adding the base Sequoia chain to our config. So let's do that and do add chain Sequoia, and our token should be the fund token. Oh no, I'm sorry. We don't want it on mainnet. So Sequoia's mainnet if we want it on base Sequoia. Let's see. I do have enough ETH on base Sequoia. That should be fine. What you need to do, what I did beforehand, right before the workshop, is to set environment variables with the private keys for Solana Ethereum. So basically the entity CLI can access them when it does the deployment. So let's see. We're deploying the manager. We get some gas estimations, how much this is going to cost. And that worked. Cool. So now our deployment.json has two chains. We have Solana and we have base Sequoia. What we want to do now before pushing this on chain is to actually modify our rate limits, because right now there's zero incoming transfer allowance on base Sequoia, for example. So we want a little bit more. So let's go ahead and modify the rate limits. Sorry, let's see. VS Code, I hope. Wait 1 second. Just trying to see how to get VS Code into the second screen. 1 second, sorry. Let's just open this. Here it is. Cool. So what we want to do here is to modify the rate limits. Yeah, sorry. All right. So by default, we in the deployment.json for an entity deployment, we have input and outbound limits, as I mentioned. So we wanted to increase them a little bit. So we want to say that outbound limit for Solana can be 1,000. For base Sequoia, it's already quite big, but the inbound should be so for Solana, let's say 1,000 as well, and the outbound, the inbound here should be for base Sequoia, and that should be 1,000 as well. That looks good, I think. Cool. So we save this and we go back to our terminal to now actually check for the status, like described previously based on the docs. So checking the on-chain status now, and now it tells us we changed the rate limits and we have some missing manager peers. So what we're going to do now is push the configuration on chain. So we're going to do an entity push, and we need to specify a pair for the Solana wallet. I mean, we set up the EVM private key before, but since we created a new, completely new Solana wallet from scratch with the CLI. Today we need to specify which pair that the new wallet should pay for. I mean, it could be any wallet, but we're going to just use our newly created wallet for this. Let me double check which one it is. It's this one. So I'm going to take this key pair and use it to push to now push all of our configurations and deployments on chain, including the new rate limits, to basically perform the entity deployment. And what we want to do next is then to actually test this out. So after deploying, let's also maybe, oh, sorry. Yes, we want to modify the rate limits for Solana, and for base Sequoia. Base Sequoia to Solana, Solana to base Sequoia. Yeah, that looks good. So that worked. And if we do entity status now, it will tell us that we did the deployment, we cross-registered the contracts. Okay, something went wrong for base Sequoia to Solana. Let's do that again then. That's weird. Inbound, outbound, did I do something wrong? Okay, that looks good. Set inbound limit. Cool. All right, so this should hopefully be fine now with the inbound and outbound limits for, okay. Let's see what the reason for this is. But first, we're gonna actually try and interact with the contract. So what I want to show you guys next is after deploying, let's look at the README one more time. So we did deploy a token to Ethereum. We did deploy a token to Solana. We deployed a token using the entity CLI. And now we want to set up Wormhole Connect based on the deployment and then actually also execute the deployment. Not execute the deployment, execute and transfer from one chain to the other chain from base Sequoia to Solana. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and do this. So let's look at Connect. Connect is basically our React widget, which can be set up very fast to create a UI. So what we're gonna need for this is just a regular React front end. So I like to use Vite for that. So let's actually just create a new front end by using Vite. Let me show you guys what Vite is. It's just basically some very smooth front end tooling, which with one command is going to allow me to create a new project the way I want it. Let's call it fun entity front end. What is the UI? I want it to be, see, you can very easily just use any kind of front-end framework, TypeScript front-end framework that you want, or JavaScript as well. So I want React, and I want it to be with TypeScript, and that's basically it. Now I have a new project for which I can install the dependencies. After this dependencies are loaded, we're gonna see the npm Wormhole Connect package that we're gonna use for that, which will basically allow us to create this UI in just a few commands. So this is done. So we're gonna do a yarn add. We need this one, and let's do 17 yarn add. Okay, I think that should be the only dependency that we need for that. There is, so to speed things up, because we are running a bit out of time, we're gonna just copy and paste the code from a different project into our Connect project, just to see, to showcase you guys how it will look like for your deployment. Let's maybe, while this compiles, go, if there are no direct questions. Are there any questions that I can answer right now?
Not direct questions. Okay. Someone had an error message, but we can sort that out later. That's hard
Absolutely.
to do.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Rebecca. All right. So then I'm going to explain to you guys what is needed here. So what we do is just configure different kinds of configurations. So we want it to be on testnet, for example. We need to tell it that we want to use, we're not going to use Sequoia and Solana, but in this case, base Sequoia and Solana. What kind of tokens do we want to use? There is different kinds of routes that you can perform with Wormhole. There's manual and automatic, for example. Then we have, for example, entity manual, entity automatic, which basically means that the relaying is either performed by the XLabs teams, which is just a core contributor to Wormhole that run relayers that developers of protocols can use, or that if you choose to do it manually, then you need to yourself interact with the relayer to then basically get the attestation from chain that one asset can be transferred from chain A to chain B after our guardians validate that it's after they come to consensus that basically, for example, a burn did actually happen. Right. So this worked. We downloaded the dependency. So let's go ahead and open this in VS Code again. Let's make this bigger and just copy the configuration file, which is like always, everything is open source, so you can always use our example repositories for basically any product. I would even, I don't know if I would encourage you, but it's always easier to just use example repositories to take a look how it was done for a different project. Definitely going to share all the resources for that later. But in general, if you look for Wormhole Foundation GitHub is where we have all the example codes and basically all code, whatever is done in any kind of in any of the Wormhole orgs. Right. So what we want to do today is go from base Sequoia to Solana. So here is an example where how the naming should look like. So we have Sequoia and then we have base Sequoia. So we're going to use base Sequoia today in Solana. This is just arbitrary naming, but what we actually need is, let's go back to our terminal and check our deployment.json. I'm going to take this and copy paste it just so it's going to be easier to figure out which values we need. So we need the entity manager address for base Sequoia. Let's first go ahead and change Sequoia to base Sequoia before. So yeah, as I said, the decision to go and deploy on base Sequoia was just because of today's fee spikes, gas spikes. All right. This should be base. All right, so let's go ahead and get the entity manager address first for base Sequoia. So base Sequoia manager. We need the transceiver. Same for Solana, entity manager. Transceiver. All right, and then we should just need the token here, token itself on base Sequoia. and on Solana token. All right, that should work. Let's see if it does. So after configuring this, we can always change the names later on and change what kind of icon we want to use. But for the sake of time, just gonna see. I just want to show you how easy and fast it is to actually create a front end where you can connect your wallets. So let's go and check this out. So this is how it looks. We probably misconfigured an asset. I'm going to check this out in a second. But what we already can do is see, all right, something is up with the network. Base Sequoia. Oh, here. I'm sorry. Right. So we could connect our wallets already, MetaMask, and solve there. We see the option. I mean, if you don't configure anything, then it shows you all the possible chains. But let's say you want to really make sure that someone is only able to send from Base Sequoia to Solana, and specifically this token, it shows us our amount that we minted. And what we could do then is then actually perform a swap. It shows us the total fees estimated on both chains, but we're not going to do this because we want to use the SDK for that. I just wanted to show you how fast and easy this works. All right, so the next step for us is to go ahead. Let's take a look at the README again. We are at step 5 now. Time is running out a little bit, but I think we can make it work. So what we want to do next, what is still left, is to actually execute an entity transfer with the TypeScript, with the Wormhole TypeScript SDK. Let's see if we can also do the CCTP transfer, which is the circle messaging. They also use Burn, but instead of using Wormhole for attestation, you would use the circle API. But I mean, you would use our SDK, but under the hood, it uses the circle APIs. And at the end, I would like to show you Wormhole queries. Right, so let's go ahead and look into the TypeScript SDK. For that, wait, let me first see if we don't have any questions right now, which are urgent.
Not urgent ones, no.
Okay, all right, cool. So next up is the entity transfer with the TypeScript SDK. For that, we're gonna again go ahead. Let me close some tabs here and actually look into an example to start with it. Let me find it. So we have this, as I said, on GitHub in the Wormhole Foundation Wormhole SDK. We have a bunch of examples, and we're going to use the wait, no, I didn't want to do the CCTP now, but rather the entity transfer. Okay, so for that, we're going to look into a different example. I'm sorry, let me create a new directory for that. Let's call it, let's actually clone the directory, clone the repository directly. All right, entity SDK test. Let's clone it to speed things up. Wormhole, cool. Let's install some dependencies. Actually, wait, let's first open it up so I can go through the code while the dependencies are loading. Oops. So what we have in here is our TypeScript SDK that enables us to do all kinds of different things. You can basically perform any action by using the TypeScript SDK. You can do entity, any action related to Wormhole products. So you can do entity transfers, you can bridge any token to any connected chain by using our token bridge. You can use CCTP if you just want USDC transfers. If you want specifically IBC transfers, we have also a product for that called the Gateway. Gateway is basically our own chain, which is IBC enabled. So you can also perform transfers by using IBC, and this is all done just by using our TypeScript SDK, which is quite extensive. So let's go over the code for that. So first we need to create a Wormhole object. We want to specify 2 chains that we want to use. Any chain, any of those chain objects has a cached RPC client. So you could perform something like get balance method if you want to check the balance of your token. We need to get the signer. We need to specify the protocol that we actually want to use, because there's a bunch of different ones, as I mentioned before. Then the token contract is exactly what we need to modify. We're going to tell it which, like the manager, the transceiver, and the token itself that we just use for Connect. With also the configuration for that is also needed in in this TypeScript SDK. Then we need to get the specific decimals of the token, perform the transfer, and then in the end, this is not going to be automatic, but manual. So what we need to do is to get a VAA. So basically get an attestation from the Wormhole Guardians that something is ready to be transferred on chain B. And then, yeah, you can redeem the token on chain B after after it's possible. All right. So in order to do that, we need to modify the configuration. As I said, again, the token, the manager, and the transceiver. Let's quickly go back to the terminal and go back again to our entity deployment, where we have the deployment.json, which is important. And let's copy and paste these values in. So first of all, Solana token, the manager, and the transceiver. We want it to be on base Sequoia. So for that, we need the token again, the manager, and the transceiver. All right. Do we need anything else? I don't think so. Maybe to quickly showcase you how you can perform actually this get balance call. That would be by doing EVM. So first of all, you need to create yourself an EVM address. Or you would say that you're gonna you want to create okay, one step back. We want to have a way to have universal addresses because we are across 6 runtimes. If you say we, then I mean Wormhole is across 6 runtimes, so address formats are different on each runtime. So we want to have a way how to kind of be chain independent for the SDK. And so for that to do, we created a universal address format internally that you can use by using our SDK. So if you would take any kind of address, you would specify that this is an EVM address, and then you would call the universal address method. Should be new EVM.address. Yes. So this would give us a token address, and then you could use this token address, which is now a universal address, to query your balance on base Sequoia, because you have, as I mentioned, the the cash RPC client. I'm sorry. All right, so this would work if you will want to check your balance first, but we just want to execute a wormhole transfer. So what we're going to do is run this. I'm not sure if this is gonna work because we decided last minute for Sequoia, so gas must. So maybe the testnet has some kind of issues, but bad secret key size. Okay, we're not going to debug this yet because it's just 5 more minutes left. Probably I set up the wrong key pair for base. But I mean, the goal of this workshop is to show you guys how to do it. So this is the way, then you would not do a mistake and not set up the wrong key pair, but the right EVM key pair to then execute this. And then this should transfer the funds from the Solana to base Sequoia. So what I really want to show you in the last 5 minutes is we're gonna skip the CCTP transfer because this is pretty similar to the entity one. Maybe just show me. I'm gonna show you the repository, and just to show you that we're gonna really quickly discuss how you would do the CCTP transfer to transfer USDC. You would again create the wormhole object, get 2 chains, get the same signers, decide if you want to do it automatically or not. If you're doing it automatically, then you need to pay 0.1 USDC to the team that runs the relayers for you, basically. But then it's just the rest is pretty similar to the entity transfer. So you would just specify amount, address. What is pretty cool is that you can decide if you want to give the user on chain B any kind of native gas. So let's say you want to bridge from Ethereum to Solana, and you don't have any and you don't have any Solana to pay for gas, right? So what you would want is to send the user Solana Sol if they transfer from base Sequoia to Solana, and you can do that by using our SDK, just so the user can then actually do something with their USDC. Yes, so you would get a quote and then just do the transfer. Again, this is an example in the Wormhole Foundation GitHub repository, which is open source. Cool. Let's quickly look at queries. Let me open the docs for queries. So what are wormhole queries? Wormhole queries is basically our cross-chain state reads product, which enables anyone to get on-demand attested on-chain verifiable state read results. So let's say you are writing a Solidity smart contract. You want to know what the state of a Solana contract is without actually writing Solana smart contracts. You could do that just by using queries. And just to be sure that the result is correct, each guardian of us would independently execute the query before. Then we would. Here's the flow. So each guardian executes the query request to perform the state read. Then we aggregate. Then we have a proxy that aggregates all this data to then have an attested and on-chain verifiable result of any kind of state read that you would want to have from the chain that you specify. Let's very quickly look at an example for that. So let's take a very basic example. Again, oops, let me open the main browser that I use. 1 second, sorry. this will work. Do you? Oh shit. Okay. I hope you see this. What I want to do is just copy the code from the browser to. I just wanted to show you that I'm copying it from GitHub to showcase how to use queries. So now what you should see is, let me double check. Yeah, you see the VS Code again. That's cool. We want the code. Sorry. Do I want to create a new project? I think it should be fine in this one. No, this is the front-end project. Let's close this. And this is our SDK project. Cool. So in there, what we want to do is create, copy and paste this query example, which is basically a very easy one. It's going to just, yes, let's first start with dependencies as always. Let's install a bunch of dependencies. Like our query SDK, Axios, and just some dependencies like BS58. Right, so what this basically does is we tell it what kind of query URL to use. Right now, you would need an API key, so you would reach out in our Discord, or you can reach out to myself directly. Because this product is in beta, we didn't want to overwhelm our proxy directly, so we would give you an API key that you would use to then just use our query product. We're specifying a Sequoia RPC that we want to use and a specific chain that we get from actually Circle. So this should be Sequoia. It is. So we want to query Sequoia. And we want to tell it that this is USDC on Sequoia. So an important thing to mention here is that I'm going to show you after this also very quickly how it will work for Solana. But for EVM, it's the ABI that we are specifying. So we're querying a block hash. We specify that we want just simply the name of the contract, and that's it. And later you're going to see on Solana that we won't do the ABI, but a Solana specific request. So not much more is happening here. We specified that we want the last block hash. We specified the configurations, and we tell it how to use the API key. In the end, we're just decoding it. So the goal is to see USDC as result from the contract. Let's see. This should be doable by specifying the API key, right? So how did I name this? Is it query? Is it like this? Yes. So what we basically did right now is query, issue the query, and then get back the block hash, and then figure out that the name for this contract is USDC. And the final thing that I want to show you is how to do that for G2 stake pool rate, or like any kind of stake pool rate. So what you could also, let me open another example to just showcase how that works, not only for EVM chains, but for Solana. Cool. So what we have here is an example for Solana stake pool queries. So what G2 is actually doing, which is a project, one of the biggest projects on Solana, is use Wormhole queries to, because they deploy G2 Sol on Arbitrum as well, not only on Solana. So they could then use queries to query basically the data, for example, the stake pool rate on the other chain. So I'm just going to copy this file again. Really quickly, sorry that we are over time. Query G2. It's not necessarily G2. It's more like stake pool, query stake pool. Right, we need 2 more helpers here. What was it again? Sorry. We need const and utils. Cool. Let's get those const. And we need some utils. Based probably just to lock the message more pretty in a nicer way. Okay. All right. Sorry, almost there. Sorry for being that fast, but if it's a recording, I hope you can just maybe look for it later again if you have any questions. Of course, always reach out to me or any from the Wormhole team or the Encode Club team, I think. It's also fine, I guess. So cool. What I want to mention really quickly is this is just a bunch of configurations for the contract. We have the query URL again to the Wormhole query testnet. This is just any random stake pool. You could specify any other account to query. We're parsing again the API key, and that's basically it. The log query response is just gonna pass the data nicer, so we can then see the total active stake, for example. All right, so we specify this again, but this time we want to query the stake pool. So this should give us the total active stake, and it does. Oh, sorry, I think that was a bit small. Yes, so now we see the total active stake for one stake pool on Solana. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Nice, thank you very much for that hour and 7-minute rush through everything you need to know. It's really good. This is all recorded, as we've been saying, so you can go back and watch any parts that you got a bit lost at tomorrow. We'll be posting the link as soon as possible, so don't worry about that. We had a few people drop out with bad connections saying, I'll watch it tomorrow, so we might get some questions after that. We have got a few questions in the chat, but I think we're out of time. So I've got a note of them, and we'll do a post in the Discord tomorrow. John's question. Okay, we'll quickly ask this question. Can you send a message payload in the NTT transaction, or do you need to use the relayer itself for the message?
So the relayer is used to transfer the messages from one chain to the second chain. So you could yes, you could use the relayer to then transfer messages that are not only part. I mean, you can basically transfer any kind of messages. Yes, if the chain is supported by Wormhole, then yes. I think I didn't understood the NTT part of it. Where's the question again? Can we send the message payload? I found it. Sorry. Can we send the message payload in the NTT transaction itself? Why would you send the message in an NTT transaction? I think the NTT manager just takes care of cross-registering the contracts, checking for the rate limits, and checking for like other configurations, and then executes the transfer. If you want to actually transfer an arbitrary message, then you would not use the entity manager, but then yes, use either our messaging in general, Wormhole messaging, or the relayer then to transfer. So relayer is just taking something and making sure that it gets delivered properly. If that makes sense. Otherwise, I'm gonna post my Telegram and Discord, and
follow up
instead. Yes,
for a cross-chain transaction that sends messages and tokens.
Telegram and Discord is Evgeni DeFi. So you can always reach out, and we can then take this and go through the code as well later.
Just very quickly, we've got 2 questions about CCTV transfers in the question tab. at the very top.
Can we have a CCTP transfer executed from within the contract alongside the Wormhole SDK? So if you're referring to whether a CCTP transfer can be executed from the Wormhole SDK, then yes. Can we have a CCTP executed within a contract? So you would not use the Wormhole TypeScript SDK if you want to write a Solidity contract, then it will be in Solidity or in Rust for Solana or whatever. But I'm not quite sure what you mean by within a contract alongside the Wormhole SDK. But you can definitely use the Wormhole SDK to perform a CCTP transfer. And we have an example for that I very briefly showed where to find. But as I said, please shoot me a message and I'm happy to send you the example again and also explain how to use the SDK for CCTP transfer. And then the second question for CCTP, can we state custom actions to perform once it reaches destination chain? So you're talking about hooks, I guess. I'm not sure. I would need to double check that. I'm not 100% sure if you can do that with CCTP, but I'll find out and get that information to you.
Okay, nice. Awesome. So I don't think we have any leftover questions. Hopefully I'll be doing a post tomorrow summarizing all the questions that we've had in chat today anyway. So if you missed an answer or a question that we missed, then that will be answered tomorrow. Otherwise, I've just posted a few useful links in the chat. We've got the Hacker Pack, which has all of the information on the bounties. It's got the submission deadline on the front page at the very top, so you're not going to miss it. All of the information on docs and the feedback forms are linked in the Hacker Pack in the bounties tables. So check those out. I've also posted the link to the Encode Club Discord if you're not already in it. When you join, go to channels and roles and pick the Wormhole Hackathon role so that you can join the dedicated channels. And that's where you can tag the Wormhole team to get technical support. Otherwise, we're going to wrap up for this session today. Thank you very much, Evgeni, for your getting started in Wormhole session. And thank you very much, everyone, for joining us and for staying so long, even though we've gone over time. We really appreciate it.
Sorry for that.
It's amazing. You've covered so much in such a short period of time. We're really looking forward to see everything that you build. Do keep in touch. We really like being in contact. If you're posting anything about what you're building online, then let us know and we'll retweet you. We will be in contact soon. Remember that the next workshop is next Monday, which is on wormhole integration, but also a bit more advanced wormhole. So do come along for that. You'll be invited in a calendar invite for that, and the link is in the Hacker Pack. So you don't miss that. Okay, awesome. We will wrap up for today. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you, Rebecca, for organizing and leading us through
That's okay. Enjoy the rest of your days, evenings, nights, depending on where you are. Definitely night if you're in certain places. Okay, bye everyone.
Bye guys, thank you.